Back again with another episode of Clean Breakthrough, brought to you by, excuse me, powered by Greenville Transitions. I do that every week. I mess up the brought to you by, powered by. But anyway,
You
today,
are the power by. You were the one who first started the power by.
I know it sounds better. It's cooler.
Is it?
Powered by, yeah,
Okay.
generated by, revved up by.
Ooh, I like revved up actually. I like revved up. All right, go back to your intro. I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
Yeah,
All right.
so with the intro today, I'm introing Lucas because he has a really cool analogy that he would made sure to tell us he came up with all by himself, no external help. So Lucas, let it rip. What do we got?
It's true. And I have skin cream on my nose. Cole has Crisco oil on his head, and it looks like David conditioned his hair this morning.
Hey, hygiene is important,
Look at that
boys. I
flow.
have brush. I have floss. I have lotioned. You
And
gotta.
Cole, and Cole is saying all those things because those are not normal daily occurrences for him. It's a big deal for Cole to do all that.
These are normal habits I have every day. Look, I mean, this doesn't happen naturally. This you have on the screen right here. This takes a lot of hard work. Okay.
Lots of primping and preening like a little bird.
Yep.
So I was talking to a guy about recovery, and crazy enough, this guy was not a GT guy, although I was over at our Step Up house, and we were watching UFC, and it was one of our alumni, this guy who's just in AA, but he's a younger guy and coming back into recovery, and myself. And we were talking about a bunch of different stuff, but this analogy kind of fell into my lap that I was saying that, like, and this is where I feel like I need some help, like fleshing it out. I was saying that when you're in active addiction, I picture like a shanty house, like a little teeny, like four walls and a roof, one room, no bathroom, like mattress drug from behind um, a dumpster at your local Five Guys, over into there. The roof is like three pieces of old rusted like corrugated steel that like lets water leak through. The walls are like recycled car doors or something from a nearby dump. Um, and that's where you sleep and that's where you live. And it's like just comfortable enough to stay there. And especially in comparison to when someone's like, "Hey man, like what if you left that behind and you went and came and got sober?" When you come to get sober, it's just a plot of land. It's a nice plot of land, but that's it. And so, like in the beginning, you're like building that house brick by brick. So when it rains on you. When it's windy, you feel the wind, you feel the sun, you feel the cold, you feel everything for the first time. And that's why I feel like it's so tempting to be like, if I just went back to that little shanty house, all the rain wouldn't get on me. It'd block a little bit of the wind. It wouldn't be maybe as hot. It wouldn't be as cold. I'd have a little bit of protection. And why people kind of run back rather than building that house. But if you build that house, obviously once it's built, there's like no better protection from the rain, no better protection from the sun, the elements, the wind, whatever. You can put locks on the house. Like there are all these new things available to you. But final part of the analogy, that house still does require maintenance. It's because any house does. So it's not like you just build it the one time and then I'm good forever. There's going to still be things that go wrong. The gutter's going to fall off. The yard needs to get mowed. A light might go out. Light bulbs need to get swapped. A sink might be leaky, whatever. But you're like no better equipped to fix that because in that sense, it's like I have this beautiful, awesome house, but I got to change a light bulb versus the shanty house that's like everything's kind of screwed. What's the point? So that's the analogy.
All right. I like it.
And I hope y'all have something to say about it because that's it.
I have a lot. I have several things to say about it. David, do you have any initial reaction to the analogy?
Yeah, yeah, I like it a lot too, and I feel like it's haven't gone into that much detail with it, but I know y'all have heard me talk about like building the foundation of your house and talk about columns or building the pillars of that house and your community kind of being that, like your support
Hmm.
system as you're building. Um, and that was the first thing that came to mind as you're talking about building this little ratty shanty house. It's like you might have most times when we're in active addiction, we're like pushing people out of our lives and we're isolating and we don't have a lot of help. But even if we do have help, they're normally like drunk or high too. And it's like, no, hand me the hammer, not a screwdriver. And then they hand you a wrench. And it's like, no, the hammer. Come on, dude. You know what a hammer is? And I just imagine like some dude stumbling around, feeling his way through a toolbox, handing you different stuff. Versus like in recovery, you have a really strong community of sound mind and normally body to come around and like help you build a solid structure and throw up some really good strong columns and support beams and to get that nicer house. So that's where initially my brain went, was to the
Yeah.
community component of it or adding that into it.
Yeah, it makes me think of like something that we talk about a lot, that living living in addiction isn't necessarily more comfortable, it's just more familiar, because that's what you've been doing for a long time. You've been living in that shanty house. It doesn't mean you're really more comfortable. I mean, you're having to deal with, your roommate stumbling around and can't hand you the right tool, and water leaking in, but you know it. Like it's become your norm on a lot of levels. And so then to come out of that and to be standing on like a plot of land and there's nothing there, I think excitement probably like happens for most people of like, oh, what could this be? But then quickly fear sets in. What if I can't do this? I have to dig this hole. Like, I don't know if either of you have ever had to like dig anything before. It's brutal. I have to do that. Like, I have to like dig out a foundation. Like, how am I going to do that? And it's like terrifying. Then it's like, well, no, let me just go back to the familiar. Let me go back to the familiar and like get back into that. So I think right there, like step one, standing on a plot of land that somebody's like giving you and like, hey, build something great. And like, what if I can't do it? Like, what if I, what if I mess this up? This is too scary. So I think that's where you see a lot of that resistance right in the early days, you know?
Yeah. And I do think that the shanty house is more comfortable than the plot of land. Because the shanty
Mhm.
house also, I can go there and I can just lay down for 16 hours, 20 hours, 24 hours a day. No one expects anything of me. When I'm standing on the plot of land, it's like every day I need to like work to build this thing. Otherwise,
Mhm.
I'm not covered, I'm not protected, there's nothing going on. And I think another funny thing is like, I think we run into this a lot when you're talking to someone about getting sober and they start to give you the like excuses of like, well, if my mom just got off my case, or if my job would just hire me back, or my girlfriend would blah 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 or whatever, or if I just had $100,000 I'd be good to go. And I remember we did have a guy one time that he was like, mom and dad, whatever you're about to spend on this program, if you just
Yep.
gave that money to me, everything would
Mhm.
be all right. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
fat chance, brother. But I think that's like the same thing as like someone in the shanty house saying to like a master builder, just being like, well, if I just got like a less rusted piece of corrugated metal from a different trash can and put it on top, I think it'd be a little better. Or if I just swept up in here a little bit, like whatever changes they would be pitching, it's just like to the master builder would just be like, no, dude, the first thing you do with this house is demolish it. Like that's the first thing. If that doesn't happen, nothing is going to be like recovered or built on from this. There is no foundation. It's shaky as hell. It's surprising that you've even been able to live here successfully at all. I think we run into that a lot of like the excuses, the justifications, and how
Yeah.
silly that would seem.
Yeah. And you can like fast forward to the comfort thing, right? Like, if you, and I think that's where our job is. Like, we're there to like help people realize what it could be. You know what I mean? Like what it could be. And so we envision like, hey, you got this like nice solid house on this plot of land. Like, this is going to be a lot more comfortable than this like shanty house. But to your point, you're exactly right. Like, it is very uncomfortable building it because you are so exposed to the elements. And the elements, I think, in this metaphor, if I'm not or analogy, I never know which is which, by the way. I think the all that rain and cold, that is like feelings. That is like pain. Like that is insecurity. That is fear just pouring on you, and you feel so raw and exposed, I would say. So that's why I think the metaphor really hits because like you're just like kind of out there, like my hands are hurting. I have a shovel in my hand. I'm having to dig this thing out. It's cold tonight. Like I'm just huddled up. Like I don't know how to do that. You know what I mean? Whereas back in the shanty house, at least there's some cover, and you may not be like super warm, but you're like you know how to get through a night there. You know you've done that before. You know how to do it. I don't know how to get through a night out here in the middle of this like little field digging a basement.
Mm-hmm. And I just do believe that on average, on the whole, early recovery sucks more than active addiction.
Mhm.
Like being raw, being that raw nerve, being super uncomfortable and with nothing to kind of ease the pain or the nerves of that. Now, do you have somebody who gets sober and they're like pink cloud, God, sobriety's awesome and I just love everything about it, and they just came from like prison, for 6 months or jail or something where that active addiction in their brain is like the worst thing ever? I mean, you always have the exceptions, but I think on the average, like early recovery just sucks. It's hard. It's like really hard, just like digging a footer. And you asked if I've ever dug a hole. I've dug many. I've dug
Yeah,
many holes.
it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. I think too. You got to have people who have actually done it before to understand how much that sucks. Because to somebody like me who doesn't struggle with substances, um, that seems insane to me. Like I never have been in active addiction. That seemed terrifying. It's so bad, and obviously see like the all the like downsides of that. I'm like, of course, being sober, even at the beginning, it's going to be better than that. Of course, but that's why you need people around who get it. They're like, yeah, I know like how hard this is at first, like because this is so raw, this is so vulnerable, and like I can get that and really empathize with that. I think that's why that's super important. And I think the data tracks out what you said. How many people like start to get sober and don't do it? How many times do they like have relapses and have recurrences like quite often? And we've had guys who come from really crappy situations where they have been on the streets or been in prison, and then they're in like our nice sober living, coming to the office every day, going to a nice gym, and they're like, "This sucks." I'm like, "How does this?" And to me, I'm like, "How does this suck? Like you were in jail." Like it sucks, and there's no like logic there. It's all just like emotional familiarity, I think, you know.
Two things.
Yeah.
Um, God, I think I already lost one. Well, one I still got. If you build out the metaphorical team for building the house,
Oh, the crew, our
the
crew.
crew, dude. So like the architect could be like a therapist. Do they like know how to actually like lay the footers or do whatever, or do they do that on a daily basis? No, but they're really good at kind of drawing out the plans. A
Yeah.
psychiatrist could be like an engineer. Same thing, maybe doesn't have direct experience, but knows like how to help in their own way. You're like ditch digging laborers are like your people in Shmeshme, that might not even be sober for a long time, but they're like right there next to you doing it, and
Mm,
then like you get into like your subcontractors and your GC, and that's like your sponsor, people who have kind of been through it that are going to be with you there um, on the team to help you out with like more experience and could dig right there with you, but are also like, dude, don't hold the shovel that way. Just trust me, dude. Don't hold the shovel that way. You're gonna have crazy calluses and rash burn at the end of the day, and you're like, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. At the end of the day, you're like, God, he knows what he's talking about. The things that you just learn from like doing something for years and years. And this is always the thing. Everyone's tried all the stuff in the pursuit of like efficiency or laziness, of like, oh, well, I could just do it this way and get it done half the time. And there's always some guy that's like, don't do that. Everyone's tried that before. Don't do that. And you think you know, and you go do it, and then you realize they knew what they were talking about.
Hey, we might be on to something. I think we got a rebranding happening here. And we can start literally, instead of calling them therapists, we can call them like the architects or whatever. And like said, like, I need to see a psychiatrist. I need to see the engineer. Because I think things in mental health are so like non-tangible. And you have like so many like assumptions and stigmas around like what each person does. Especially like, and especially talking like some of our parents, particularly our dads, they're like, so what's the psychologist do? And like, we don't even have a psychologist. We have a psychiatrist and a therapist. Which one are you talking about? Yeah, the shrink,
Both
the
of
head
them.
shrinker,
Both of them.
the,
Talking
the
about
head
both.
shrink. And it's like, all right, man, let me spell this out in a way you understand because you probably like understand the concept of home building. This is the architect. This is like
Psychiatrists are
the laborers.
electrical engineers.
Could be electrical engineers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the psychiatrist. They're rewiring everything, getting you hooked back up. Therapists, they might be like the plumbing engineers. They're getting all the pumping the shit out.
No, see, I would
Oh,
say that would be like your primary care provider, like your just kind of standard doctor is your plumbing engineer.
We got to
Yeah.
work this thing out because I could also see
We
the
do.
plumber being the sponsor too. Like, I mean, hey, you want to sit down? We're going to talk about like a 4-step, and we're going to really get into this to the stuff, you know. But you're going to do that with a therapist too. But I think
Sponsor is like the GC of the framing crew,
okay,
foreman of the framing crew,
hmm
like helping you actually like build the bones of the house, not all the like nitty gritty like siding and what finish you're going to use and stuff like that, but just to like, let's like build the frame of this house. And I feel like the frame is like, you know, to someone who believes in 12-step, I think the framing is the steps.
hmm
That's where I was like, I need to
we
bring
gotta
this
have
up because I was like, I feel like you could just keep going and going and going.
dude,
with
like
it.
masonry.
This
Like
is
we
like
gotta get
this.
like who's the concrete guy, who's the masonry guy, like all that. Yeah, I think
Concrete
you could
guy
really.
is detox, dude.
It's a deal, or it's at the excavator. You
Yeah,
know,
that's
the
like
one
that's
who
the
like
excavator.
who's like, hey man, we got to clean this thing out. We got to dig
Treatment
down.
treatment might be concrete guy.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is not like a bougie build. This is like I'm on a budget, and like I got to do some of this work too. Like, oh, the demo. Okay, like by the way, they're like, hey, you got to tear down the shanty house too. That you got you got to tear that down. You're like, get a hammer and a crowbar and start swinging. You know, like you need to start swinging and like, okay, and now, all right, we got framing crew coming in there, and you just wake up in your field and you're like, all right, the framing crew's here. Like, I guess I got to start. How do I frame? You know, like you're doing this with this isn't like, hey, I just give you the specs and this is bougie and I come and I just move in like it's, you know, fixer upper or something. This is I'm learning it every day. I think. And that becomes very important later on. I mean, you guys notice from like home ownership, like it is interesting the years you put in and how much more confident you get in being able to like solve problems. And the only way to really do that is to either like pay somebody to do it or to get into the house and figure out like how do I improve this, or we got to outlet this out. Okay, I remember that time I was working with the electrician on how to do an outlet, or I'm going to get on YouTube and figure this out, you know, and how to fix it. And you get more and more confident. It makes me think about those like old like salt of the earth like men that I grew up with in Georgia that like they knew how to fix everything on their house, and they might be like kind of ill about it, but they were never like in a bad mood because they like didn't know what to do. They were in a bad mood because they knew how hard it was going to be. And they're like, oh, I gotta go do whatever, but they knew how to do it, you know. And there's just like kind of like just this old, like just salt of the earth type of person, resilient, and that's that they were resilient, and that's what we're trying to help people get to. Like, hey, you can resiliently keep like tweaking and like figuring out, hey man, I gotta get a new roof. I gotta call in somebody for this. This is asking for help to put these new shingles on my house, but I'm taking care of it, you know.
I remember my other thing now when you said that like when they get the plot of land first that they're like kind of jazzed about it just because of like the potential. And I feel like that's every addict alcoholic I've ever known in my life that's just like, dude, I'm gonna get sober, about to get like
Yes.
new year, new me, 2026, Lucas in loading, dude. I'm coming
Dude,
in. I'm
like,
gonna be a millionaire. I'm getting a Ferrari. I'm gonna have a really hot wife. I'm gonna do all like it's gonna be the best me you've ever seen. They love just talking about it, you know. And I feel
Mhm.
like even the pink cloud of like early recovery kind of is that's like when it's just still all the like fantasizing about it. You're looking at plans, you're hiring the architect, you're talking about how great it's, man, this is going to be a beautiful build. And then like I feel like the reality of like when someone hits that first slump and you're like, what happened, dude? He was so motivated after 60 days. It's like, well, we had to go out with the shovel and actually start digging for like the first day, you know, like the realities of like building a house are now upon us, where it's like talking about the steps is one thing, going to Schmeg and just hearing about the steps is one thing. I'm jazzed. This is exciting. And people are just selling me on the end result. And I'm going to have a house and it's going to be awesome. I'm thinking it's going to be 6 stories tall. You know, it's just like all this pie in the sky stuff until you get to like your 4-step. And you're like, oh my God, I have to actually write all this stuff down. Or you like have that first real therapy session with your therapist where you're like, this is what this is going to be like. We're not just going to check in on like my day and my week. And yeah, I went grocery shopping and everything's great. You know, like you want to like dig into my past and like really like work on some stuff. So you could just keep going and going, dude.
I know, because that happens. Like that's also part of just being a human. Like it's really nice, and we know this. It's really nice to have the idea of like building a business. Oh man, be a business owner, build this thing, easy peasy. And then you get in, you're like, man, this is really hard and more time consuming than I ever could anticipate. It's really fun to be like, man, I'm like really good at like kickboxing or Muay Thai. Like I'm gonna be so good at that and stuff. And then you get like kick for the first time, you're like, ooh, I don't know about that. Or like for me as a kid, I was like, I want to be like a football player, like playing the NFL. First game, you get like ear hold and like you're like, oh, this is tough. Like this is really tough. Do I want to continue on with that? And I think recovery is the same. You know, like it's like, man, like there's a lot of good, you know. It's like that classic quote, like it's not easy, but it's worth it. Um, like it's that you have to decide, like, is this worth it? Is this worth like continuing to pick up the shovel or the hammer and just trying every day to build this thing? You know?
Yeah.
We gotta make a short film now. I think we've got to make a movie.
It
30
sounds like
minute
we just
short
need to
film.
turn.
Dude,
You know what?
exhibit
It
A.
sounds like we need to like
Exhibit
we need
A.
to we you know what we need to do? Like we need to make a short film because that's gonna be easy. There's not gonna be any hardships there. And we just need to take all our sober living guys and just build a house, you know, and then sell it for millions of dollars. Like, and that's how we're gonna get there. Like, but we'll be like, fellas, come on. They're like, they just use us for like manual labor. I'm like, no, it's the house of your recovery. It's not yours, but like, you know, it's ours. But you know, we're like we just do that.
Dude, the
We
short film would
never
be
do that.
sick because I imagine it like just not really like you don't really explain it. And you basically just have like 2 timelines and stories going on that are not related at all. And like one is a guy like, you know, he's like in the architect's office, whatever, you know, it's like the whole like house building part. And then the other one is purely just like a guy like in active addiction and then going to detox. But you just keep cutting back and forth when it's like when they like correlate, you know? So it's like
Did you say active addition? Is this
active
mathematics
active
class?
addition, not to be confused with active subtraction.
I like you know what I think would be cool is that the animated video excuse me called Nuggets on
Yeah, with the
YouTube where it's
bird.
like that, you know, with a little bird creature and he's
That's what I pictured.
he,
Like no talking.
like and
Mhm.
so like doing that with the bird, you know what I mean? But it's like the same thing and he's like, you know, laying in this, you know, he's got
With a
like
nest.
a nest.
Dude.
Yes. But he starts off with a terrible nest. He's in
Yeah,
a
just a
terrible
twig over
nest.
his head.
Yes, yes, and he's got to like get rid of that, and you know, and then you have like other birds maybe stepping in, and he's got to like get up and like, oh man,
We're on to something.
somebody talk to
Way to go,
somebody about
Lucas.
making this up. We need Nuggets Part Two. We need Nuggets Part Two. Yes, a nest. That's perfect. I'm gonna start sketching it out right now.
Yeah. Because Nuggets does a really good job of like giving you the picture of addiction. And then this gives you the picture of like what it looks like to build recovery.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I kept thinking
This
as we were talking about the plot of land because, man, I love like a new project more than the next guy. And that was me, leaving a lifestyle of addiction when someone was like, "Oh, we're going to take you to this treatment where you could get better and you can be anyone you want to be." And I'm like, gosh, I could be anyone that I want to be. I'm only 23 years old. Like I could have my whole life ahead of me. But yeah, it was like someone walked me onto that plot of land and they were like, and then here's a tarp. And if it rains or anything, like if you just hold this one corner of the tarp up, like you'll get the water off of you. And I'm doing that for a night. And it's like, gosh, this is worse than my shanty house. This just sucks. Like, take me back. And that's when, like, literally after maybe 2 to 3 hours in treatment, I was like, I've got to get out of here. I started trying to formulate an escape plan.
It's true. It's real.
Hey, so didn't they do a version of this with you in Wilderness, Lucas? I mean, y'all were literally setting up your house every night, and when you were backpacking.
Yeah, setting it up at night, breaking it down in the morning. And sometimes that was like kind of cool and easy, and sometimes it sucked because you're getting in there like just past dark and having to like set up a tent, use flashlights, do all that. I mean, there's just a lot of I feel like variability to this stuff because just like life is life and you don't know what's going to happen. And it's not like just because I go to treatment, or I decide to get sober that the world stops. People still die. People are still born. People get married. People get divorced. Friends don't talk to you anymore. New friends emerge. It's just like kind of all in flux and transition all the time. So you just don't know what stuff's going to pop up that's going to be kind of tough to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
The same as if you're building a house and you never bought one before or never built one before, like I feel like people can conceptualize what it is to build a house until you like get into it. And it's just like, oh my God, this. And like, I thought y'all get an excavator for digging out these footings. Oh, that actually costs more than 3 laborers for the day.
Mm-hmm. It also makes me think of, we're bouncing back and forth here. So like now in your life, I would not consider you to be like this, like overtly outdoorsy person, like goes camping, does anything like that. But your first foray into like sobriety, like where this all started, when you were spending like a lot of time backpacking and camping, and wilderness treatment. And you were learning like these principles, like hey, you just show up, kind of do it. And you gotta ride it out. And yeah, maybe I stage a coup, maybe I try to leave, whatever. But I ride it out. I think there was some like really important fundamentals you learned there. But I remember really a little moment that happened when I was helping you move. We were getting stuff out of your attic, and one of the things was your sleeping bag that you still had, like that you kind of like. It seemed like when you were talking about it, you kind of like forgot it was there or had not seen it in a long time because it was up in the attic, right? And I remember like you made like a comment or something like, I can't ever throw this away, or like, man, that's like, you could tell there was like this real like fondness and connection for like thinking about like this thing, that's just like the sleeping bag, but like what it represents. Like it represents like night after night of like doing something hard, something outside my comfort zone. Like, will you ever sleep in that sleeping bag again? Probably not. Like not like I said, not this crazy outdoorsy guy, but it meant something. And I thought that was like when we're talking about like the wilderness and like building stuff, I just that for some reason that like memory came to mind. You remember that? Like getting it out of your attic at your old house?
No, I don't remember getting it out of my attic, but I do get sentimental with things sometimes. Kind of makes me emotional even thinking about that sleeping bag because it's so funny that like I hated that sleeping bag. I hated it so much because when I got to treatment, it's like I forget what it's called, like a 30-degree sleeping bag. It's something that's like the one for the coldest weather because when I got there, it was freezing cold. And I think normally people come to that treatment and you're like there for the winter or you're there for the summer. They can give you a summer one or a winter one. But I was there like just for the end of winter where I needed that one. But then it got really hot. And I remember complaining about that sleeping bag all the time that I was like, this is miserable. I'm like dying, sweating every night because it's like, 80, 90 degrees outside, and I'm sleeping in the sleeping bag meant for like 30-degree weather. And so just so funny to like have that thing be like the bane of my existence. I mean, I complain to someone 5 times a day, every day about that. And then be this thing that I like won't throw away years later, that I have this weird like sentimental fondness for, is emotional and bizarre.
Hmm. Yeah, it's also cool. Like we just don't always get what's going on when this happening. We just really don't get it, and that's probably one of the most, I don't know, mysterious, but also can be one of the coolest parts of life. Like we sometimes are missing the significance of like a moment or interaction or a series of interactions with a person, place, or thing, and we don't understand until much later, like how like meaningful that's going to be.
Yeah. It's
So,
funny
I mean,
too that it's like we're constantly told and to remind ourselves to like be present, yet I rarely understand anything going on in the present. Like it's only with the gift of hindsight and some perspective that I understand what used to be my present. But when I was in that present, I mean, it's beautiful, it's magical, maybe almost because it's stripped of like this deeper understanding and I'm really just there doing it, but then I have like a much higher degree of like fondness for it when I do have the perspective to look back and appreciate it, whether it was hard or easy or good or bad, but it's just this weird pull of like, be present, but I understand nothing going on in the present the way I'll understand it later on. But by that time I understand it, I can't be in it anymore. It's like I can't have both. I can't
mm,
understand what's going on right now and be present in it.
hmm. I think you can. I just think it takes a lot of trial and error, and I think it probably, dare I say, is like kind of like our life's mission to figure that out. And like it was funny is I feel like we come out as kids getting that. Like I think about like my children, they do not hesitate to build a fort. Like that's literally what they were doing this morning. They were not thinking about like, oh, this is going to be like hard or whatever. They're so in the moment. Hey, let's build this fort, you know. And then as we get older, we are so worried about energy consumption or how much like effort it's going to take, or what if I look stupid, or what if I fail. Like we're born into this purity of being able to be in the present, and then we lose it. And then I think one of our big tasks in life is figuring out how to find it again. And it may take our whole lives to really ever find that again. But it's just a very interesting thing, and it does take a lot of like just trial and error. When I say a lot, I mean like years, decades of kind of working around that and like finding it, like, oh dang, I had the present for a moment, and then we kind of lose it again, and you just kind of do that over and over. But I think it's something always to be strived for.
But I think kids have the present, but they don't
Hmm.
have the understanding of
Hmm.
like why building that. You look back on that 20 years later and you're like, dude, that
Yeah,
was the best, man. And I didn't even
yeah,
know it at the time. I was just building
yeah.
forts and loving it, but I didn't understand that like, that summer was the last time I would ever hang out with that guy or that girl.
Hmm.
And I didn't know it at the time because I was so present. But then now I look back on it. So I feel like as an
Hmm.
adult, you're given the gift of like more like reasoning and cognition and understanding and like attaching things, looking backwards, but then kind of lose that gift of like being in the present. And I mean, the crazy thing is some adults don't look back on anything ever or think about, like it's not, you just have the ability to do it. I think as a child, you have the ability to be present, but lack the ability to be like introspective in this like much deeper way that I think only comes with like 20 more years of life and being able to think about things. And then as an adult, you're given that gift, but the gift of being present is kind of taken away. And I do think like the goal of life is to like be in that flow state of like, I'm doing this thing, I'm enjoying it, I'm present in it, and I like fully get what this is in this moment in a way that's not going to take me 10, 20 years to understand and look back. Like I can get it right now. And there are little moments where I feel like you get that, but normally I'm like one or the other.
Hmm.
Because sometimes life stuff just has to happen, you know? Like I look back on my son when he's like 1. And when I was 1, all I knew was to have a 1-year-old. But now that he's a 3-year-old, and I'm like, oh my God, like I didn't even get it. Because now I think that I get it because he's 3. But when he's 5, I'll realize that I didn't get it now, and that I'm gonna get it more when he's 5. You know what I mean? It's like I never fully get it because there's always the next thing to come, which puts in perspective whatever my current present is.
Yeah. I think too, like this ability to go back and reflect makes the current moment more important. So like sitting here right now talking about your sleeping bag a few moments ago, right? Like back when we were like when I was helping you move out and I was standing at the bottom of the ladder and you were handing me things down. It was really funny. You're handing me like Logan's like skis or snowboard or something. You're like, she hasn't ever skied or snowboarded. You're like being like pretty like typical hilarious, just like commenting on everything. You were showing me like some of your nunchuck type thing that you had hidden or whatever. Yes. It was really funny. But then you threw down a sleeping bag and you said that like I didn't think anything of it in a moment, just my brain just stored it away. It was like, oh, that's interesting. And then we're having this conversation and it just kind of happens. So like the memories in the past and understanding the significant, it can't always happen in that moment. Sometimes it does have to happen upon reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes the current moment richer or more vital, like vibrant. And that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes we can get too, like, we just get too stuck or we think we have to always just be just in the present. Don't even think about the past. Don't even think about the future. Like, I just don't think that's super realistic. And these things are meant to enrich each other in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? To what we were saying about like, hey, if we're sitting here, we're not in the business of selling people on like recovery because of what it is. Because when they're in recovery with us, it sucks. Like we're in the business of selling people on recovery for what it's going to be. Like that's the future. Like that is like what we're in the business of doing. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this house when it's built, it's going to be like pretty wonderful. But there's no way to like get through the present moment without the promise of that. You know what I mean? So like I think we just can get really like stuck. We're like think we have to all be in the present, all be in the future, or all be in the past. And these things are all meant to like support each other in a lot of ways,
Well, there's like this is like above my pay grade, but I was listening to this the other day and it hurt my brain. But they were saying that like in the universe, like everything is moving at different speeds, like planets and galaxies, and it's all flying around at like crazy different variable speeds versus us. Like, but we kind of think we're sitting sedentary right now, but the Earth is like hurling at, I forget what it is, like 90,000 miles per hour, like through the universe. Yes. And I think like since the universe was created, however you think, we've done like our galaxy has done like only like 3 rotations around the universe, I think, like in that time. And like, well, however many like billion years or 6,000 years, again, whatever you think. I'm really trying to be inclusive because like whatever it could be is like whatever it is. But they were saying like Albert Einstein, he said, they were like, so, and like we know if something moves at like the speed of light, time is like literally different than if it's moving at half the speed of light versus if it's like sedentary. The whole point of it being that it's like time is like just not real. And like really like every moment in the universe from its like inception to its demise is happening in this moment somewhere. And that just kind of blew my mind. I was like, there like almost is no present and there's only like my conception of a present and a future and a past, but it's kind of all going on at the same time. It's just this like illusion of time that like I think. So my point being, don't think too much about time where it might hurt your head, and certainly don't go on YouTube Shorts and watch a 10-second clip of a astrophysicist talking about it either, because that'll really hurt your head.
Yeah, well, so I just finished last night my Christopher Nolan rewatch because I have been watching all the Christopher Nolan movies over the last several months to get ready to go watch The Odyssey, which just came out, and I don't know when I'm going to go see it, but I'm excited. But all his movies, for the most part, deal with time, like crazy time jumps and stuff, like, and we're going like, he didn't got movies like Inception, where it's like time is different in the dreams. Each layer you go into the dreams is like a different amount of time. Like he's constantly messing with that. But like, I mean, there are schools of thought around that. Like we just have to conceptualize time. It's this linear process, and there are a lot of schools of thought like where it's not that at all. You know what I mean? That it is more like circular, or there's a lot going on at the same time. But it's just really hard for our brains to conceptualize that and understand it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Here's your takeaway.
What do you think, David?
It's not about the pursuit of happiness. It's about the happiness of the pursuit.
Oh,
Oh,
Learn to love the journey, not the destination. That's what we have to keep reminding ourselves, okay, guys?
this come from that guy with the Rottweilers or whatever,
I don't know who you're talking about.
the Australian guy who's
It's
like,
Andrew
oh, with the
Tate.
two dogs. No.
men have two
Oh, no.
Rottweilers inside of them. One is
No,
lost.
that
Yeah,
was
it's that
actually-
guy. That guy.
I'm sure
yes,
someone
I know
else said it, but it was actually, and this is going to be my second episode in a row quoting him, but Jimmy Carr
Oh, Jimmy Carr's so good.
Oh, Jimmy Carr.
does that.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
hate for Jimmy Carr, dude.
No, he's the one that says the thing about the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, funny, witty, smart, wonderful man.
Yeah.
Certainly not talking about Rottweilers in a park, dude. Inside every man.
Mhm.
Lost
Yeah.
The
That's
other
interesting.
is drug addiction. I don't know
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like every boy has two dogs inside of him.
Two
you know, and, like,
dogs, two dags.
dogs. Yep. Yeah, happiness is an interesting one. We could do a whole podcast on that one too. Like episode, like, is happiness worth pursuing? You know what I mean? Like, is it even like attainable? Is it like too addictive and too complex? Like it's like we get so fixated on being happy that we miss all the other stuff. So I don't know. We can.
Well, it just
That's for
changes.
another day.
Yeah.
Another day, another time.
Another day, another time, another dollar, another dog.
All right. And that's all for today.
And that's it. Deuces, pieces, bye bye.
All right.